More black Americans have been lost to the Democratic Party than any other group in the 20th century. Progressive Democrats in the early 20th century are the ones that implemented sterilization of blacks. Democrats. Post-1970s, Democrats have opened the largest concentration of Planned Parenthood and abortion clinics located where? In the black communities. They're killing Negroes. Killing the regal class of the House of Judah. Republicans abolished slavery. Can we realize that? Democrats supported slavery. Republicans gave blacks the vote. Democrats tried to keep the vote from blacks. Republicans passed the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Who opposed it? Democrats. The first black Republican was elected to the U.S. Senate in 1871. But the first black Democrat was elected to the U.S. Senate in 1999. It only took the Democrats 128 years. Oh my goodness, am I crazy? Because I'm seeing something here. The first 22 blacks elected to the U.S. House were all Republicans. All civil rights legislation from 1865 to 1965 was passed over the objections of Democrats. All civil rights legislation. All civil rights legislation. The Democrats have stood in the way of civil rights for over 100 years. So now you go, well, why are so many black Negro royal class of the House of Judah caught up in voting for those that would try to enslave you? Historically, we'll tell you the Democrats have kept you in slavery because they're still enslaving you and they're still keeping you in slavery. They just rename it, remarket it, remanufacture it, but nothing is new under the sun. Democrats want to enslave you. All civil rights legislation from 1865 to 1965 was passed over the objections of Democrats. Every civil rights initiative for that 100-year period, from the Civil Rights Act of 1866 to the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, to the Civil Rights Act of 1875, was proposed and passed by Republicans. How do I know this stuff and you guys don't? 100 years of civil rights activism by the Republicans. 100 years of civil rights obstruction, the Democrats. I'm not telling you how to vote. Make your own decisions, people. Dr. King was a Christian and a Republican. Malcolm X was a Republican. The Ku Klux Klan, wake up! It was formed after the Civil War as a military force serving the interests of the Democratic Party, formed to fight against Lincoln's Republican Party that had freed black slaves. And those black slaves were trying to vote. They were trying to be voted into positions of judges, trying to be voted into positions of governmental influence. And more Democrats lynched blacks between 1870 and 1900 than any other group in the whole of the history of this country. Democrats were lynching blacks. Can we be real? This really bothers me. Can you tell? Because we've got all of this and I'm like, but you're Democrats. And I know what you're up to. And it is sickening to me. Because we have textual, historic data that proves what you're up to. So how did the regal class of the house of Judah get so caught up in slavery? Because when Lyndon Johnson came to power, blacks who traditionally voted 95% Republican suddenly switched over to Democrat. That is when it happened. Why? Because now the Democrats were promising to give them free stuff. And you know, it's kind of hard to turn down free stuff, isn't it? I'll have those niggers voting Democrat for the next 200 years. I'll have those niggers voting Democrat for the next 200 years. Lyndon B. Johnson confiding in two governors why the passage of his civil rights and welfare legislation was important in 1963. Can you not see who's trying to enslave you? Come on, man. It's the difference between house slaves and field slaves. Field slaves, I mean, man, they lived dreadful lives of hard outdoor labor, picking cotton, or even worse. They were always looking for the opportunity to escape, those field slaves. But the house slaves, on the other hand, they get to wear their master's clothes. Well, yeah, I mean, they were hand-me-downs, torn and tattered, but they would receive free meals. They would have the leftover scraps from their master's table. And when the field slaves came in and they would say, let's run, let's get out of here, the house slaves would say, well, run where? Where are we going to get anything better than this? Right? So it is with modern day black liberal Democrats. They're house slaves. House slaves. You vote what you want. But don't vote due to propaganda, color, and ignorance of your own history and what tribe you truly belong to. The reality is, blacks are being pimped like prostitutes by Democrats. Quanal X. You see, too often black believers have espoused a Christianity that ignores their blackness instead of appreciating and speaking to it from history and the scriptures. And that's the problem.